Raiders tonight will be without wide receiver Randall Cobb, out with an ankle injury, but Demarius Randall, who was questionable all week with a shoulder, will play. As for the Lions, top cornerback Darius Slay returns from a hamstring injury, but running back Theo Riddick was placed on injured reserve this week because of his wrist injury. His season is done. And last night, Riley Reif was a late addition to the injury report because of a hip issue. He's out. He'll be replaced by Corey Robinson, making just his second NFL start at right tackle. Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Lions have not won a division title since '93. That's the second longest current streak. The Browns have the only one that is longer. As you can see, the crowd is all revved up. They moved here from the Silverdome in 2002, have yet to host a playoff game as Mason Crosby gets ready to kick off for Green Bay. Packers won the toss, elected to defer. Andre Roberts, good run back man. He's returned 2 punts for touchdowns this season. Runs back the kicks and the punts. Towels twirling at Ford Field. Aaron Rodgers awaiting his turn. And off we go, the final game of the regular season. And it will begin with a touchback. Let's take a look at the Lions starters.
Matthew Stafford, Georgia.
Zach Zenner, South Dakota State.
Golden Tate, Fighting Irish.
Marvin Jones Jr., Cal.
Anquan Bolden, Florida State.
Eric Ebron, North Carolina.
Taylor Decker, The Ohio State University.
Lakin Tomlinson, Duke.
Graham Glasgow, Michigan.
Larry Warford, Kentucky.
Corey Robinson, South Carolina.
Robinson, as Michelle mentioned, a late starter. You've got 2 rookies on that offensive front. And Matthew Stafford lines up in the shotgun. We'll talk about his finger, which was injured 3 weeks ago and has been a bit of an issue for him. They start on the ground, and they start with Zach Zenner, who had a nice first half last week against Dallas. So take a look at Stafford, 8th year. Could be his best in a way. 22 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, completing about 2/3 of his passes, and he will hit the 4,000 mark again. And before the night is done, he'll be the fastest ever to get to 30,000 career yards. 2nd and 4, Packers almost jump. Stafford fires down the sideline and incomplete. And Chris, let's take a look at that finger and what he has to do to even get a grip on the ball.
Yeah, he's got that little mini brace on the thing, and basically it's his top knuckle that he has to keep straight. So there's just a little piece of plastic underneath there that keeps that straight. And in sort of a weird twist, he doesn't put that finger on the laces of the football. It's a very unusual grip. I've really not seen that grip before, but I think it may play to his advantage just because that doesn't have to be raised up on that lace.
One thing it makes him do is take almost every snap from shotgun. 3rd and 4, they go 5 wide. Stafford to his left and incomplete. Coverage is good on Golden Tate. Covered there, the linebacker Thomas going over to take him out of the play, and it's 4th down.
But what a play by Joe Thomas to open this game. This is one of the most elusive wide receivers in the game, and Golden Tate, and he gets locked right on him and makes the play and stops him short of the 1st down. Big time play there by Joe Thomas.
So a fast 3 and out. Sam Martin, one of the better punters in the league. And he sends a beauty down to the 15-yard line. Micah Hyde goes to his knee and then runs it back 10 yards to the 25-yard line as we take a look at the Green Bay offense.
Aaron Rodgers, Cal.
Ty Montgomery, Leland Stanford Jr. University.
Jordy Nelson, Kansas State.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
Geronimo Allison, Illinois.
Jared Cook, South Carolina.
David Bakhtiari, University of Colorado, Boulder.
Lane Taylor, Oklahoma State.
Corey Lindsley, The Ohio State.
TJ Lane, Eastern Michigan. Brian Balaga, Iowa.
Good offensive front. Lang will be going to the Pro Bowl. A lot to talk about with this team, with Ty Montgomery, a wide receiver by trade. That's why he wears number 88, turning into a running back about halfway through the year, and he's done a great job. And they give it to him, and he finds a little bit of a crease and is able to move forward out to the 30. So Aaron Rodgers, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, everybody's talking about what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers. What's wrong? He's back in the MVP conversation clearly. 36 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. If you close your eyes and put all of his numbers together, you go, That's an MVP.
Yeah, if you close your eyes and put his numbers together for the last 5 games, you say he's the greatest player of all time. It has been remarkable what he's done.
2nd down and 6, and he has spread the ball around. They line up Davante Adams in the backfield, and he goes out to a wing on the right. Rodgers, as he does so brilliantly and so often and has for years, extends the play and turns it into a nice little gain out to the 34-yard line. Devin Taylor chased him, and we've seen Aaron, of course, do that for most of the 12 years he's been in the league, certainly the 9 as a starter.
Aaron Rodgers does this better than anybody, just so athletic. He averages over 3 seconds per throw, which is an eternity in the National Football League. And that time, because he did not slide feet first, he gets the full advantage of this slide forward here and almost picked up that 1st down, and nobody touched him.
He's a yard shy from the 34, 3rd and 1. They've been a fullback Ripkowski in the game, and also Richard Rodgers. A lot of bulk on the left side, and then they hand the ball off. Going through the middle is the fullback Aaron Ripkowski, playing the role that John Kuhn filled so brilliantly for years. 1st down for Green Bay.
Well, I don't know that either one of these guys over here are particularly known for their run blocking, but this is pretty impressive. And anytime, one of the things I like about Mike McCarthy's offense is they can spread you out, but they can also play a little power football. Bringing Richard Rodgers back in there in the backfield, Aaron Ripkowski. So in that short yardage situation, able to just plow through there for the big 1st down.
They leave Ripkowski in to flank Rodgers. Give it to him again, and over the left side this time, plunging forward to the 49. Let's take a look at the Detroit defense.
Devin Taylor, South Carolina.
Ashawn Robinson, Alabama.
Paul Pingata, Oregon. Ziggy Ansah, BYU.
DeAndre Levy, Wisconsin.
Tyre Whitehead, Temple.
Josh Bonds, Auburn. Big Play Slate, Mississippi State.
Tavon Wilson, Illinois.
Glover Quinn, UNM Lobos.
Nevin Lawson, Utah State.
Whitehead, their leading tackler, middle linebacker, 2nd down and 5. Off play action, Rodgers under pressure, and that was Tavon Wilson, former Patriot, came blitzing through to knock him down for the sack.
Come off right off this side over here and comes in, and Ripkowski is going to end up missing this block. Beautifully done. You get a guy that came out of the New England Patriot organization, and of course Mr. Quinn knew all about him, drafted in the 2nd round, and they knew he would be a perfect fit here for exactly how Terrell Austin likes to play.
Wilson, 5 years in the league, that is his 1st career sack. Montgomery and now Jared Cook are in the backfield. Leave them in the block, giving Rodgers time, and then it's deflected and incomplete. Cook, who's had a good 6 weeks, he's been hurt, has come back. He's made a difference. Couldn't hold this one in 4th down.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Aaron Rodgers was even throwing it. We kind of ended up with 2 guys on the same level, and it looked to me like maybe he was trying to get it in behind there to Geronimo Allison, but it was Cook that deflected it. You could see him grab his helmet. I think that's exactly what he was doing.
Jacob Shum to punt. Roberts calling for the fair catch and reels it in at the 14-yard line. 10:24 left, opening quarter in Detroit. No score. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Lexus, who wishes you happy holidays. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Verizon, join a better network because better matters. Happy New Year to you all. Last night, clock ticking down at the Drop in downtown Detroit. From the 13-yard line, Lions begin their 2nd drive. Zach Zenner in the backfield with Stafford in the pistol. And he slings it to the outside and then is caught by the tight end Eric Ebron. 1st down. Let's take a look at the Green Bay defense.
Detroit Guyana, Bradford High School Tornadoes.
Mike Daniels, Iowa.
Julius Peppers, North Carolina.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Joe Thomas, Blackfield, South Carolina.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Ladarius Gunner, the U. Morgan Burnett,
Georgia Tech. Clint Dix, the University of Alabama.
Quentin Rawlins, Miami, Ohio. Demarius Randall, Arizona State.
Clinton Dix is on his way to the Pro Bowl. And here's a 3-yard gain to the 30. Zach Zenner, the only man in the history of the National Football League whose initials are ZZ. That would figure.
Can't get any better than that. How about GG, Graham Glasgow here? Look at the way he snaps his football. Back in the day, when you were playing in the street, you did some of that and you just flipped it back. But that's what makes him comfortable. And it kind of works now because Stafford has to work out of the shotgun, so he just flips it back there. He was the backup center for Travis Swanson.
And here goes Zenner. You know, looking at him snapping the ball, it's like if you get a new football and you're in the street, you don't want to scuff it.
That's exactly right.
You turn it on the point.
That's exactly right. So you just snap it up there like that. And I guess, you know, if it starts raining or something, and Matthew Stafford said it did rain one game and he had to kind of change it, do a little more traditional, but that's what makes him comfortable, so why not?
That's what Andy Reid told us last week. He used to get a football as a present, and it was all they could do to, you know, make it look pristine, at least for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're old Voight footballs.
False start. Offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, speaking of Glasgow, Jerome Bogert tells us he's the man.
Well, he is the backup. Travis Swanson, who is playing very well, out with a concussion. There was a few sort of flying rumors out there that Swanson might be ready to go this week. You don't know how much of that was, there's Swanson, you know how much of that is maybe Detroit trying to throw off Green Bay. A little gamesmanship going on, but never happened.
3rd down and 9 from the 27-yard line. Stafford in the pocket. Has time. And free down the sideline is Golden Tate, but he can't reel it in with one hand. So it's 4th down.
Oh, my goodness. That's where the Detroit Lions killed him down this right side. And all season long, when you look at the numbers for the Green Bay Packers, teams have absolutely scorched them at all levels down the right side, and Matthew Stafford just can't miss that one. That was a touchdown.
And the scorchee very often has been Demarius Randall. That time he got lucky. Second punt of the game here for Martin. Fielding into the 34-yard line is Mike the Hyde. A flag is down. Back at the 37-yard line. For the moment, Hyde takes it to midfield. More than likely coming back.
Yeah, looked like a block in the back.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 23. 10-yard penalty. Green Bay keeps the ball. 1st down.
And that penalty is on Randall. Crescent Moon, high above Motown. Don't miss a moment of tonight's game with the NBC Sports app. You can watch the game anywhere, live on your laptop, tablet, and connected TVs. A little artwork downtown, the Fist. Of course, this was the hometown of the great Joe Louis. Back to Ford Field from the 27-yard line. Montgomery is the running back. And Rodgers fires, and that is taken in by Nelson, who slips and falls. Picks up about 8 yards. So Jordy Nelson had knee surgery last year. Remember, he got hurt in preseason, missed the entire year. Came back and got off to an okay start, but he has been red hot over the last month and a half.
No question about it. Over the last 5 games, nobody has more receiving yards or touchdowns than Jordy Nelson. 528 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he is a huge reason why they have been so hot during this streak.
Nelson has now caught 92 this season. Second and a deuce. And through the middle, and a big hole opens for Ripkowski and the fullback out to the 50-yard line. So reminiscent of the types of things that John Kuhn did for so many years out of the Green Bay backfield.
Well, we are seeing some tremendous blocking inside here. I think that's going against the rookie, Ashawn Robinson. But that double team right up to the linebacker position, and Tyre Whitehead never could escape it. So far, we have seen some power football tonight, handing the ball to Aaron Ripkowski more than Ty Montgomery.
In fact, they had 2 fullbacks that time, and that said, with Joe Carriage, the rookie out of Michigan, also in the backfield. We got a false start here on the right side.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Brian Bulaga. That offensive line has really done a great job this year. And Bulaga, the #1 pick back in 2010.
And Brian Bulaga has probably had his best season so far. And as a matter of fact, I think you can say this is the best pass blocking offensive line in football. Bulaga, TJ Lang, David Bakhtiari, the other two aren't bad either, but those are the standard bearers at their position.
And this is a team that shockingly let Josh Sitton out the door just before the season began. Let him go to Chicago. And that pass is incomplete, intended for Adams. Everybody looks for a flag, at least on the Green Bay side. Don't get one. Aaron Rodgers, so you go back the first 9 games, 22 touchdowns, 7 picks. Good numbers, but everybody's saying what's wrong with him. Last 6 games, 14 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Well, and I think the thing that's been the most impressive of all is most quarterbacks see their quarterback rating go down by 33 points under pressure. Aaron Rodgers during the streak, his has gone up under pressure. Nobody ever does that.
2nd down and 15. Rodgers buying time. So dangerous when he does that. This pass incomplete, though, intended for Devontae Adams, who's a guy who has dropped a lot of passes through the years, but actually this year playing a heck of a lot better and comes into the game as their #2 wideout with 69 receptions. 3rd and 15, they'll go without a huddle, or at least try to. Now they'll huddle up again.
Well, this was really great protection, but it was Aaron Rodgers with his ability to dance and move. I think at a certain point the clock goes off and says, okay, I've got to get out of here. But they did a nice job with Jared Cook there, but he has sort of those ballet feet that can always get in great position to throw the football. Just missed that one.
Dancing with the stars in his future. 3rd and 15. Whoa. Little dump off, a dangerous pass intended for Montgomery over the middle. The pass is incomplete. So Rodgers has started the game an uncharacteristic 1 out of 5, and Green Bay to punt for the 2nd time.
Let's take a look at this guy, Kerry Hyder, who I think has really been one of the unsung heroes of this Detroit Lions team. He leads them with 8 sacks. I don't think anybody could have named him at the beginning of the season. Ziggy Ansah really has fallen off, only 2 sacks on the year because of a leg injury, and it has been Hyder getting it done.
Jacob Shum's punt, fair catch signal at the 11-yard line by Roberts. 6:19 left in the opening quarter. No score in Detroit. Premiering tomorrow, a new celebrity apprentice, the baddest boss in town, Arnold, joined by Ricky Williams, Eric Dickerson, among others. The new celebrity apprentice premiering tomorrow right here on NBC. 3rd Lions drive begins at the 11-yard line. Center, through the middle he goes. He's become a crowd favorite. Last week, big first half, and he didn't see the ball very much in the second half out of South Dakota State.
Yeah, nice little double team coming right down here, but this Zach Zenner has been unbelievable. He's a guy that's rushed for over 2,000 yards 3 straight years in college. Now, I know it's South Dakota State, but over 2,000 yards, that has to get your attention.
Against anybody. From the 26-yard line, after a gain of 15. Well, that's the one thing the Lions have not had all year is a running game. They're 30th in the league in rushing. Snapper fires to the outside, and that's caught for a 9-yard gain by Marvin Jones. Came over from the Bengals in the offseason, got off to a hot start, but not much in the last few weeks.
Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but that right side has been a real issue. 0 to 9 yards at 126 essentially rating, 10 to 19 yards. Look at that, 134 and 20 plus a 118 rating. Those are way over, like 30, 40, 50 points over the NFL average trying to defend the right side for the Green Bay Packers.
Something the quality control coach would know as Zenner gets stopped at the line of scrimmage by Dayton Jones, making it 3rd down and 1 for the Lions.
And for Matthew Stafford, you know, this is one of those games, don't you think, that this is Aaron Rodgers against him, no matter how you want to slice it. And the idea of playing playoff games in this town means so much to him and this organization.
8th year in the league, 3rd and 1, and to get the first down here to the 39 goes in. I mean, Stafford came in, much heralded, of course, grew up in Dallas, went to school at Georgia. He was the #1 pick in 09, and he's had some really good years, but he hasn't been surrounded with the best talent. He's had obviously some really good guys like Calvin Johnson, who retired last year, but you're right. This is it's to the point right now where it's, hey, when are you going to do it? When do you get over that hump? When does the team get over the hump?
Yeah, and what better than to have Green Bay Packers in your house? Let's go get them. This is our night.
Play action, fires over the middle, that's caught, and that's Golden Tate taking it into Green Bay territory to the 44-yard line, first down.
Working against Ladarius Gunner. Golden Tate, he is probably as elusive a runner and route runner as there is in the game. About 50% of the completions to him are at or behind the line of scrimmage. He's essentially like a running back playing wide receiver. Get him the ball, get out of the way, let him make somebody miss.
17-yard gain. Lions going no huddle. Give the ball to Zenner, and he gets popped after a gain of 2. We go to Michelle.
Well, this is the type of splint that Matthew Stafford is wearing under that glove. It is designed to keep the finger straight at all times because he can't bend it. That knuckle that's right underneath the fingernail cannot be bent if this is going to heal properly. So he's wearing it 24/7. He said it'll come off in time for the Super Bowl should they make a run, guys.
Yeah, there it is. Good look at what it looks like on the field. And, of course, as we mentioned before, almost all snaps he takes out of shotgun or pistol. 2nd and 9. Play fake, blitz coming, and then the pass is incomplete because the pressure was put on. 3rd down and 9.
Now let's just take a look at that grip, and you can see that the bad finger, if you will, isn't on the laces of the football. And I don't know, we asked him, does it hurt you? Does it irritate you? And he basically, it's locked out. But he can't really tell the difference. He said, can I feel it every time I throw the ball? Absolutely, I can feel it. It's just a touch thing. You're just used to throwing it with one grip, and now you've got to kind of improvise with that.
Tonight, 3 out of 7 for 39 yards. 2.5 to go in the quarter. Stafford under pressure again with fires, and that is caught. Golden Tate is able to make the catch. Julius Peppers slammed into Stafford as he released. First down here, gain of 17.
Julius Peppers going to go out and back in against the new right tackle, Corey Robinson, and gives Matthew Stafford a shot. But as he's done all season long with those 8 come from behind wins, just hangs in there, takes it, toughs it out, gets back to the huddle. Golden Tate was telling us there are times that he can't even talk when he gets back to the huddle. There's Corey Robinson.
At the 26, drive began back at Detroit's 11-yard line. And Zenner trying to push the pile. It's to the 23-yard line. Their leading rusher this year, the Lions, would be Riddick, who's been hurt this last several games. 357 yards. There he is. That's his total. He'll probably wind up leading the team in rushing. You think, Adrian Peterson ran for what, 296 in one game?
Yeah.
And their leading rusher for the season is going to be at about 3.5.
And Theo Riddick, one of the best receiving backs out of the backfield that there is in the National Football League, and maybe David Johnson, only the one a little bit better.
2nd and 7, rolling to his right. Stafford buys time, and along the sideline, it is caught, but the flag goes down. For the moment, it is a completion. Tate doing the toe dance there. Tate may have pushed off as he made the catch.
Pass interference, offense, number 15. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Indeed.
Let's see, usually you can get away if you just slightly bend your arm, right? Get from the elbow, but you give both hands in a push. Yeah, it's a good call. Quentin Rollins out there saying it's hard enough over here on the right side.
Negating the game makes it 2nd and 17. Caldwell loves the call. Taking down to a minute left in the quarter. In the middle, keep it on the ground. Center to the 30-yard line. Again, if you missed some of the earlier action today, the Redskins could have in effect cemented a spot in the playoffs, barring a tie in this game, but they lost to the Giants. So each of these teams is in. Winner stays home next week against the Giants, and the loser goes to meet the Seahawks in Seattle. 3rd and 15.
Wide 7 high. Tag 47. Ready.
Tate tries to pick up some blocking and is able to skitter his way down to the 20-yard line to make it an easier field goal attempt, which we will probably see as the first play of the second quarter. So Prater will come in to try to make it a 3-0 game after we go to the break. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Green Bay 0, Detroit 0, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages.
We got a battle tonight, a winner take all, ain't nothing like Sunday Night Football.
Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Sunday Night Football wrapping up the regular season. Matt Prater to try to break this scoreless tie on a 39-yard field goal attempt for a guy who holds the NFL record, 64 yards, when he was a Bronco back in 2013. Sam Martin to pull it down, and the kick is no good. So it remains scoreless.
Good snap. Good hold. Hooked kick. You can tell when it's spinning sideways, he did not hit that the way he was trying to do it. A guy that had a pretty terrific year this year, but missed a big one there.
Well, we can tell you that tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by Geico. But those aren't the ruins. Well, those are the ruins, I guess, of the old Silverdome in Pontiac, which was the home of the Lions for so many years and the site of a Super Bowl back in the 1981 season, as Green Bay starts this drive from its own 29-yard line with Ripkowski in the backfield and Rodgers to throw, and Aaron downfield, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Jared Cook. So what did you do to the Silverdome? Chris Collinsworth played in that game. That was Bill Walsh. That was Joe Montana, the first of their 5 victories. Snowy day. Remember, I think the buses broke down and the 49ers had to walk to the stadium the last mile or so.
Yeah, I feel so horrible for him. I really do. But it really was one of those circumstances. The president of the United States was coming in. The motorcade slowed us all down. We got there about an hour and a half before kickoff.
2nd down and 10. And that's a gain of 8. They give it to Ripkowski. 3rd down. So that was taken, that shot on Saturday. They have taken the roof down, obviously, and I'm not sure what they're doing with that right now, but not particularly an inviting look right there. And this is Ford Field, which has also hosted a Super Bowl. We were here back in 05 when Bill Cowher's Steelers beat Mike Holmgren's Seahawks. 3rd and 2. All kinds of action up front, and we've got flags stopping the play.
There was some jumping. TJ Lang moved, but
False
reacting.
Start. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Yeah, it's David Bakhtiari. So you had a penalty on each of their 2 tackles, who both had great years, but both penalized tonight. To this point, 3rd down and 7.
Well, obviously with the crowd noise, watch the way they do this. They look in with their head, and then they've got to come back and try and find the guy that they're blocking there, Devin Taylor. And obviously the louder this crowd is, the more difficult that process is. But it's a few times now that we've seen mistakes by this Green Bay offense and it's pushed them back.
3rd and 7. Crowd in full throat. Blitz coming. Rodgers is able to escape throw. Caught. 1st down. Jared Cook, how in the world did he get out of there? Ezekiel Ansah came in, and it looked like he had him enveloped, and somehow Rodgers is able to sneak past him.
You remember when you asked him last night something about how do you know people are coming? Do you just feel it? And he basically said, sometimes I surprise myself. There is one of the most athletic pass rushers in the league, Ziggy Ansah, who flat out missed.
From the 43, off the play fake, fires over the middle again, goes to the tight end Cook again, and Cook takes it to the 32-yard line. And what a difference Jared Cook has made since he got healthy, picking him up as a free agent this year.
Yeah, we said, what's been different this year and during the win streak here? And the very first words out of his mouth, Jared Cook. You get a big, lanky wide receiver that you can flank out, that can put pressure on the middle of the field. It opens up everything else. You saw it there.
Cook, former Ram, former Titan, 8th year in the league, first with Green Bay. Ball at the 33. Inside handoff. Oh, it's something. Ripkowski to the 28. They lost Eddie Lacy after 5 games. They lost James Starks. He was involved in an auto accident. So they moved Montgomery to the backfield. Now tonight they go with Ripkowski. It's like they're pulling everybody off the bench to play running back.
Yeah, they had a little problem with Ty Montgomery last week in protections. And remember, as a wideout, you don't spend a lot of time blocking 250-pound linebackers. Maybe Aaron Rodgers said, just make sure I'm protected. I'll take care of the rest.
2nd and 5. And the pass is caught on the outside by Richard Rodgers. And down the sideline he goes to the 14-yard line. Rodgers, the man who last year broke everybody's heart in this stadium when he caught the Hail Mary at the end of the game. The game extended by a personal foul against Detroit to win the game. Yeah, there of 14.
I'm surprised that Aaron Rodgers didn't hit one of the rafters in this building. He threw that ball so high. One of the more remarkable plays we've seen. But Richard Rodgers now 3 straight games against the Lions. He scored a touchdown.
Aaron Rodgers now 4 of 9 for 57 yards. Dancing in the pocket, throws, caught on a slant to the 8-yard line. That's Richard Rodgers again. Flagged down. He's covered by Tavon Wilson. And you got Brian Balaga, who was a little slow in getting back up, as Broger gets set to tell us in a moment.
Holding. Defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That would be the safety, Don Carey.
Yeah, and this is a good strategic move by the Green Bay Packers. They have basically taken Aaron Ripkowski and put him in the backfield for protection. We saw some of those things, remember those green dogs and read blitzes where the linebackers really in coverage, and then he would come late and he would kind of run over Ty Montgomery. Ain't nobody running over Aaron Ripkowski so far.
Green Bay with 7 runs so far. Ripkowski has 5 of them for 43 yards. First and goal. His 6th carry. Ripkowski takes the ball to the 7-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Aaron Rodgers talked about that interception streak that he has over the last half-dozen games. He's now thrown 215 consecutive passes since his last pick, longest streak of his illustrious career.
It's been remarkable, and now he is down in Jordy Nelson range right here. Here's a guy with 11 red zone touchdowns, nobody even close, out there flanked to the right-hand side.
And 14 total touchdowns for number 87. And Rodgers throws over the middle, and this is Ripkowski, the sudden star. Touchdown.
Probably the best pass blocking tandem in the National Football League at the guard, at the tackle position, jumping outside. There's Brian Balaga on that side having his best year, and David Bakhtiari, who is just so quick with his feet on the other side, and Aaron Rodgers taking care of the rest. And Aaron Ripkowski's had a heck of an impact on this game so far.
He has 2 rushing touchdowns. That's his first receiving touchdown. The extra point by Crosby is good. So after the missed Prater field goal, Green Bay goes 71 yards, 8 plays, 3 runs, 5 passes. Pack lead 7-0. Sunday Night Football brought to you by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. By Bud Light, make the right call, drink responsibly. By Nationwide, Nationwide is on your side. And by T-Mobile, switch to the network built for unlimited data. Motown Records, established in 1959. Motown Museum now stands on the site of Pittsville, USA. I think it's a little good music that's come out of here. Going to modern times here. We got Eminem, Kid Rock. I love Eminem.
Changed a lot, didn't it?
Eminem's a major football fan. Hoping that his Lions can get a home game next week. This is Andre Roberts. Brings it back up to the 20-yard line. That Green Bay defense, that 4-game losing streak, they were scoring a lot of points on offense, but giving up 38 points per game and 421 yards. And that 5-game winning streak, a heck of a lot better. 17.6, 14 takeaways, no giveaways.
Yeah, and that really has been the key. But you also have to remember that Clay Matthews was out 3 games during that 4-game losing streak. Demarius Randall missed all 4 of them. Of course, Sam Shields been out since the 2nd week. So it wasn't easy on them at all.
Lions from the 20-yard line beginning this drive. Stafford slings it to the outside. Center makes the catch and gets popped as he gets bounced out of bounds. Gain of 16. We go to the field to Michelle.
Well, linebacker Joe Thomas was on the injury report this week with a back injury. He has been getting a lot of treatment here on the sidelines, and they've been working very quickly to get him back up, re-padded, re-wrapped, and ready to go. Meanwhile, Demarius Randall, who was questionable all week with a shoulder injury and did play in this game to begin with, is now questionable with a left knee injury out.
Yeah, sitting on the bench, Michelle. Thomas made a really nice play early, covering Tate. So Blake Martinez, a rookie out of Stanford, takes his spot. Center goes to the outside. Not for very much. Taken down there by Mike Daniels, big number 76.
Well, there's no question that Mike Daniels really has been so much the key. You get all the conversation about the great outside players, and you should. Nick Perry, 10 sacks. Julius Peppers, one of the greatest of all time. Clay Matthews, you know what he can do. But when those guys are getting sacked, more often than not, it's because Mike Daniels is getting a push up the middle and not allowing that quarterback to step up.
9.5 left in the opening half. Packers up by 7. Here comes the blitz through the middle. Stafford able to step away for the moment. And then with a flag going down, Blake Martinez takes him down. Umpire throwing the flag. The penalty is going to be against Detroit.
Holding, offense, number 60. This penalty is declined. The result of the play, 3rd down.
The rookie center, Glasgow.
You're going to get the cross blitz going here, and then it's going to be the center, Glasgow, who's going to end up with the hold. You see that a lot with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and of course Dom Capers, their defensive coordinator, some of his roots go all the way back to the Steelers as well. But that's a big play right there, because Blake Martinez was out weeks 12 through 14 with a knee injury, and so we'll keep an eye on him. But that looked pretty good.
Yeah, the Stanford rookie taking Thomas's spot, with Thomas on the bench right now. 3rd and 15, deep drop. Stafford airing it out, and it's caught at the 35-yard line by T.J. Jones to get him out of a big hole. Second-year guy out of Notre Dame, their 6th-round pick. A couple of years ago, 35 yards on a 3rd and 15.
The Notre Dame flash, there he is again, working down that right side and taking advantage. We talked about it in the open. The cornerbacks of the Green Bay Packers, they're young. They've given up a lot of plays. They have very good safeties. But if you're going to attack Green Bay, you go after the corners. And that's exactly what Stafford's doing. He missed one, hit that one.
Have to work on Rollins on that play. 1st down now. The ball is handed to Tate. Will juggle there. Tate gets it to the 27-yard line. Gain of about 6. 2nd down.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do with Golden Tate, right? 506 yards of yards after the catch on the season. Just the ability, get him the ball. They don't care how reverses, little pitches, quick screens. Just let him catch it, let him run with it.
2nd down and 3. Center, big hole. And he takes it to the 13-yard line where Morgan Burnett makes the stop. So Zenner tonight has already carried the ball 11 times, 50 yards.
Well, you're going to get all these guys in here, but in particular the right guard, Larry Warford, who's probably their best run blocker, comes down on Dean Lowry and blows that hole open.
Lions going no huddle. Zenner now with a dozen carries halfway through the second quarter. Jim Bob Cooter is the offensive coordinator, the young OC. Last year, Joe Lombardi was here. They made a change in mid-season. The Lions were able to ratchet it up in the second half of the season. And Stafford and the whole staff speak glowingly of Jim Bob.
Kind of beyond glowingly, didn't you think? Almost like the guy is remarkable. Incredible memory. They were saying they gave him 10 days worth of work and it came back the next day perfectly done.
You're going to have a free play here, and Stafford's still going to pay a price as he gets sacked. We had Dean Lowry, and then it was Nick Perry coming across.
Defense, number 95, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Dayton Jones is the guy they're going to whistle here, flag him for the offside.
But let's give some credit to Dean Lowry, the young rookie, for hanging in there on that one, because those free plays turn into touchdowns. We see a lot of those out of Aaron Rodgers. He stayed with it. He didn't let up, and that prevented Matthew Stafford from throwing that ball in the end zone.
2nd and 5. Quick throw, 1st and goal. Ebron, the tight end, to the 2-yard line. So the Lions, answering that Packer touchdown drive, have gone 78 yards in 8 plays.
Eric Ebron, anytime you feel comfortable taking your tight end and flexing him out, you know you've got a football player out there. He is coming off of career highs in both yards and catches against the Dallas Cowboys, also career highs this season.
1st and goal from the 2. Crowding the line. Everybody in tight. The whole 22 in your picture right here. Stafford on the roll, throws, caught, and then a great tackle is made by Micah Hyde to stop Anquan Bolden, the venerable one, the 14th-year man, from getting into the end zone. 2nd down and goal.
Just so tough for Micah Hyde to get over the top of this route. They just count on that there's going to be traffic out there. Then you've got to make a big tackle on a tough guy in Anquan Bolden. Nicely done by Micah Hyde.
2nd and goal from the 1. Zenner moves off to Stafford's side. And a little fade, incomplete, not even close really, as Bolden was covered there by Rollins, setting up a 3rd and goal.
And if you feel like you're watching Peyton Manning's offense, you kind of are. Jim Bob Cooter, of course, the history, and Jim Caldwell with the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning. And so they're going to give Matthew Stafford a lot of latitude at the line of scrimmage, but 2 straight passes now once they were down inside the 2-yard line.
3rd and goal. Into the end zone goes Zach Zenner for a Detroit touchdown. What a great looking drive that was. 80 yards, 11 plays, and they had 5 first downs on that drive.
All 3 blocks perfectly done. Let's watch the center, though. You got to be able to cut off that inside linebacker, Jake Ryan, and he does. Ryan moves right, and Zenner sticks it in there. That was a huge recovery run there after 2 failed passes to come in and get the touchdown anyway.
Prater now for the extra point. St. Martin's hold. And we are tied at 7. Big play on that drive was that 3rd and 15 pass down the sideline to T.J. Jones to 35 yards. All even in Motown. Well, you've got Jason Day, Bubba Watson, defending champ Jordan Spieth, headline a winners only field in Hawaii coverage of the Tournament of Champions. Begins Thursday at 5 Eastern on Golf Channel. Continues next weekend on NBC. Cruising over the Detroit River. The boundary between Detroit and Windsor, Canada, Windsor, Ontario. On this Sunday night, touchback here. They will begin its next drive from the 25-7-7 at Ford Field. Packers against the Lions, great rivalry going all the way back to 1930, but in recent times, Green Bay has dominated, 36 wins to 13, and 2 postseason wins. These teams met back in the early 90s in the playoffs twice, with Green Bay winning both. 3 starting quarterbacks for the Packers and 15 for the Lions, so that has settled down in recent years since Stafford took over here in 09. Jim Caldwell, 3rd year. Jim took Indianapolis to the Super Bowl in his rookie season there when he took over for Tony Dungy, won his first 14 games. And I don't want to say he's on the hot seat here. Some people think, oh, if he doesn't win tonight, then what? From the 25-yard line, the running back is Kristen Michael. Came over from Seattle. Here goes Rodgers again, buying time, and he hits Michael. Kristen Michael may have a first down. Bob Quinn is the GM here. He took over in the middle of last season. They had a big shakeup here in Detroit. He did not know Caldwell, so he got together with him at that point. And Jim, with time left on his contract, you know, when you look at it, if he gets into the playoffs, which he has, that's twice in 3 years, and that hasn't happened around here very often.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this place has a pretty good feel right now with Quinn coming in.
This is Adams making the catch, and he has a little room to roam and gets it across the 50, but a flag comes down after the catch. Get the Boger call here momentarily.
Holding. Offense, number 83. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Well, it takes an 18-yard gain and makes it a 10-yard loss. Showed you Quinn, the GM, one of the New England trained guys. I guess if you're going to get trained to be a GM or whatever you're going to get trained for, Foxborough is not a bad place to learn the craft, huh?
Yeah, but they're really, didn't you get the feeling, you know, Jim Caldwell has been around for a little while. Quinn's a new general manager, got a little young, a little older, but they kind of have spent a lot of money updating everything in this Detroit Lions organization. And you got the feel when you walked out of there that it was going in the right direction. I'd be really surprised with the relationship that he has with Jim Bob Cooter if this whole thing got blown up. I just don't see that happening at all.
I'd be surprised too. 1st and 17. And this is Michael. But already a couple of changes. Gary Kubiak. It was surprising when everybody found out about this weekend, but probably because of health reasons more than anything else, Gary has decided to step down after 2 years as the Bronco coach. And San Diego, after the game today, parting ways with Mike McCoy. Of course, with San Diego, you don't know where they're playing next year to begin with.
Yeah, and congratulations to Gary Kubiak, one of the really, truly great guys in the league.
2nd down and 16 from the 29-yard line. And Rodgers dancing, keeps his eyes downfield. You saw the flag, and for the moment, gets to the 36-yard line.
You know, sometimes you scramble the right way and sometimes you scramble the wrong way. There wasn't one receiver on that side of the field.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
T.J. Lang will be going to the Pro Bowl.
There's the hold by T.J. Lang. And now look, Rodgers out here. He's going to pump fake, and there isn't one receiver anywhere on that side of the field. He was just trying to fool the pursuers.
So at the 33, decline. So it's going to make a 3rd down and 9. Caldwell opts to take the down, make a 3rd and 12. 3rd and 12 at the 33. A little over 3 minutes to play in a 7-7 game. First half. Steps away again, throws. Ripkowski makes the catch, but he'll be stopped short of the first down. Then a flag comes in at the end of the play. Glover Quinn made the tackle. I think the indication is Green Bay.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 81. This penalty is declined. The result of the play, 4th down.
So they decline back-to-back penalties because it makes it 4th down, 4th and 4.
Yeah, speaking of hot seats for Mike McCarthy, it got a little toasty earlier in the year as well. And I thought Mike had a great answer, stand up in front of a press conference and said, you know, the numbers show I've been a pretty successful head coach in this league. And I think he was stunned by some of it. And of course, the turnaround quieted all that noise.
Shot the punt. Not a good kick, and it's going to go out of bounds. They'll mark it, I think, somewhere around the 30-yard line by the time they finish lining this thing up with the surveyor. And it will be the 31. 2.5 to go in the half. Matthew Stafford, 8th season, throws close to 40 passes a game. There it is, 39.3. Most in NFL history per game. And he reaches the 30,000 mark. He does that tonight in his 109th game. Nobody has done it quicker than Matthew Stafford. Marino and Kurt Warner would be next. Each played 5 more games to get to that magic figure. So here he is now at the 31-yard line, starting this drive. Give it to center. Just one thing about Bob Quinn, I mentioned he was actually hired at the beginning of this season. Brought Rod Wood in as the president last year. They had a big, palace coup here last year, and trying to get everything in order, both on the field and off in Detroit. And on their way to the playoffs. 2nd and 8. Show blitz. Get a little Omaha thrown in there too. And
that's
right. Jim Bob Cooter, Peyton Manning, Omaha. 2-minute warning. 7-7. Toyota halftime coming up. Tony Romo throws a touchdown pass in his return. Breaking down the AFC playoff matchups. Steve Smith Sr. on his final game. All coming up Toyota halftime as you look down upon Comerica Park, home of the Tigers. Look at that grass. Kudos to that groundskeeper. Ford Field, and there's a construction site that neighbors these two where the Pistons and the Red Wings will begin play next season. 2nd down and 8 now. As Stafford fires to the outside, and that's hauled in. That's going to be a 1st down. Marvin Jones takes it in, run out by Randall.
We've got Clay Matthews working on the outside here against the young rookie Taylor Decker, but he's also going to get a little help from Zach Zenner. It was Clay Matthews a week ago who was flying around looking like he was about 5 years younger. He was incredible a week ago.
Stafford fires over the middle, and Matthews had an easy interception. Just holding his helmet right there.
Oh, they had it all set up, so they're going to bring the blitz here. So what do? You got to cover with Clay Matthews from the backside, and he runs right underneath this. Stafford never saw him. Oh my goodness. We have seen some blown opportunities already in this game, and Clay Matthews does not miss that. They catch passes every day at practice off the Jugs machine. He is going to be dying on that one.
And he might have taken that one all the way.
Yes, sir.
2nd down and 10 from the 42. Blitzes. That one is caught shy of the 50. And a stiff on there by Bolden. And Anquan Bolden into Green Bay territory for a 1st down.
You know, Anquan Bolden was one of those guys that Quinn definitely wanted here. Here's a guy. Okay, he probably runs about a 4.8 40 at this point in his career, but he's so physical, he's so tough. They wanted a 3rd down guy and they wanted a red zone guy, and they got absolutely one of the best. Nobody will ever question that guy's toughness.
42, Detroit, all of its timeouts. 1st down at the 47. screen here. Zenner and double Z is out of bounds at the 33-yard line, moving the sticks again. First down.
Well, you love it when you see this happen and you want to run a screen. Let's put a perfect scenario together. Let them bring a blitz that side. Nice job by Larry Warford getting out there and getting Morgan Burnett hooked. And then here we go. This is a good-looking offense. It looks like the old Peyton Manning offense, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Look at that Zenner. 83 yards from scrimmage. And Detroit's only touchdown. Again to the 29-yard line. Second down and 6. Of course, you talk about that Peyton Manning offense. Mr. Caldwell spent a little bit of time with Manning in Indianapolis through the years.
Yeah, that's how they got around to Jim Bob Cooter. They had to have somebody with a strong enough will to match Peyton Manning. They said it's not the easiest job in the world. They found somebody special.
Second down and 6. Protection caught again. It's Zenner to the 23. The kid out of South Dakota State, free agent. Had 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He did last year on injured reserve with a collapsed lung. Third down and 1. From the 23, and they give it to him again, and he pulls his way inside the 20 for a first down with 37 seconds. Timeout taken here, and we're back in 30 seconds. So 37 seconds to halftime. Clay Matthews had that golden opportunity and let it go awry. First down from the 18-yard line.
And coverage if he wants it.
George Jones hits him. 13-yard line. Jones coming back for it, taken down right away, and Detroit uses its second timeout. Zenner, told you about South Dakota State. Look at those numbers. I don't care who you're playing. It's 3 years, over 2,000 yards each season.
I mean, that's really remarkable, but it's showing up here tonight, and he's a pretty complete player, don't you think? We've seen him blocking, we've seen him chipping on the outside, we've seen him catching some balls. But really, so far, it feels like the key to this offense is much like it was back in Peyton Manning's day. The pace is wearing down the Green Bay Packers, and they are getting these effective runs. Now, remember in the game last week against Dallas, Zenner had a great first half, was nowhere to be seen the second half. So we'll see. Now they go into the spread.
They have run 38 plays to Green Bay's 24. Second down and 5. Play clock at 2. Stafford fires, and that's caught in a lot of traffic, and that's bowled into the 4-yard line. And Detroit is going to utilize its final timeout here with 26 seconds, but a first and goal forthcoming from the 4-yard line.
Yeah, and the reason you hesitate a little bit to use that final timeout is that you can leave the running game in play, right? And so that's what makes that decision a little bit tougher. But here we go, Anquan Boldin one more time, and he's playing with a bad finger. He really did not catch the ball at all during practice this week. He would run the routes, but when they threw him the ball, he just simply tried to catch it with one hand. But you knew when the money was on the line. There it was. Clay Matthews on that zone blitz had one thrown right in his hands that may have been a touchdown the other way, and instead now Matthew Stafford may put a touchdown up for the Lions.
So Boldin caught that pass, bad fingers. Stafford with the middle finger taped. First down and goal. Center in the backfield. He's carried the ball 16 times. Pass here, caught, touchdown. Golden Tate slides to the inside, and Detroit takes the lead.
I tell you the other thing veteran wide receivers do is they don't get called for picks even when they're picking. That was just perfectly done.
They had 6 first downs on that drive. They had 5 first downs on their previous touchdown march. They have 16 in the game to Green Bay's 8. Prater for the point after. 23 seconds remaining in the half. Green Bay will get the ball to start the third quarter.
Watch Anquan Bolden. You see that white border? That is within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. You cannot be called for a pick play within that territory. But Bolden didn't even take that chance. He went out there. He made the defensive back Randall stop and hesitate. Get it in there to Golden Tate. That's why you sign veteran football players. They make key plays like that. And what a drive by Matthew Stafford. One mistake and he got away with it to Clay Matthews.
Tate with his 4th touchdown reception of the season. Leading the team in receptions. Tonight he has 4 on the year. He has 89, former Seahawk.
A little stunning if you watch the first game between these two teams. The Packers led that one 31-10 at the half.
And Detroit almost caught him at the end. That one at Lambeau, week 3. So Ty Montgomery is back now to receive the kick. See what Green Bay does with very little time. They've got the timeouts, but they probably need a decent run back here from Montgomery. Sam Martin is their punter. Puts the ball in the air, and Montgomery will roll through the end zone. So, Chris, I bet you thought your fantasy season was over, right?
Never. It's never over.
Well,
it's never
right.
too late.
It's not. Sign up free. You can win a trip. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 52. We'll be there. Join today at NFL.com. Playoff Challenge. It's next year's Super Bowl in Minneapolis. What's at stake here tonight? The winner clinches the division and will play the Giants. So that game will be either at Lambeau or here. And the loser will go out to CenturyLink next weekend to take on the Seahawks. To be determined. And that's the final game of the 2016 season.
You do not want to jump off sides here and give that guy a free play.
And play clock may have run out. Could be a delay here.
Before the snap, delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Brings it back to the 20. 23 seconds.
You know, Al, it's interesting because both these teams clinched playoff spots before the game. I was thinking it might benefit Detroit a little more just to take a little pressure off. And they've come out a little bit of a slow start, but boy, they've been sharp here lately.
It could be in the sense that each team went into the playoffs. Yeah, it's a little bit of pressure off. The other hand, you begin to think about if you're the loser of this game, you would have to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl. And Rodgers fires downfield and open and making the catch and getting out of bounds is Geronimo Allison, working out of Illinois. With 15 seconds, the ball is at the 41, so they'd like to pick up a little bit more yardage for Mason Crosby. That's a 39-yard reception. So Green Bay, with whatever amount of timeouts they have, it barely matters. They only have time probably here to use 1, max 2, as Rodgers tries to position Crosby for a last-second field goal.
What an unbelievable mistake by the Lions defense. How can you do that? How can you do that?
Yep. Rodgers serving deep downfield, too high and incomplete. Intended for Allison again. That took 5 ticks off the clock, so we're down to 10.
The Lions had 2 guys covering the underneath guy over here, you'll see, and they basically had nobody down the field on Allison. I mean, both of them react up to Jared Cook. The clear route went deep. I mean, that is the simplest of all routes. You go 3 levels, one deep, one to the flag, one at about 10 yards, and somehow they messed it up.
2nd and 10. Quick pass to the outside and getting out of bounds is Cook with 6 seconds. So that's the 35 line of scrimmage. You're looking at a 53-yard field goal. Do they try one more play? It looks like they will.
This better be quick.
Very.
And with Aaron Rodgers, you always have to be a little careful. You think, okay, just protect the boundary. We're going to make sure we don't get that. But you never know with this guy. He's got a little Hail Mary history here.
A little bit. That's Allison in motion.
They're going to give him the quick out. They're not even defending.
And timeout. Rodgers looking for a little offside there and a free play.
I tell you, I think I would have taken the extra 5 yards there. They were just giving it to Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure they were told that we're just going to try and draw him off sides.
Well, Crosby started out onto the field, and now he retreats back to the kicking net.
I think Mike McCarthy saw what I saw, that if they're going to play 10 yards off, let's go ahead and take that extra 5 yards. Let's see if they do it again.
Make it fast.
Nope, they changed the defense. Now they're up in the face of the receivers. Now, if anything, you just throw it away, I think.
To the outside, he just flings that one out of bounds. And now Crosby will make his way onto the field for about a 53-yard field goal.
Very interesting there, because Aaron was obviously told no snap. You've got to play like that in your repertoire. No snap means we're not snapping it no matter what. I'm sure it was killing him up there, because any word you say at the line of scrimmage there is null and void because you're trying to draw him off sides. Probably wanted one more shot.
53-yard attempt to end the half, and he bangs it through. So Rodgers gets him down the field. That 39-yard pass to Allison, the key play. The score is 14-10 coming up next to at halftime. But first, here are today's top performances presented by Microsoft.
Tonight's first half highlights are brought to you by Chevrolet.
Stafford has time. Golden Tate can't wheel it in.
Oh my goodness.
And this is Ripkowski, the sudden star, touchdown. Into the end zone goes Zach Center. What a great looking drive that was. Pass here, caught, touchdown, Golden Tate.
Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row.
On to the third quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Sunday Night Football from Detroit, 14-10. Aaron Rodgers held to 130 yards. That one touchdown pass on 10 of 17. Meanwhile, Stafford, 183 yards. Snapped a streak of 118 without a touchdown. Zenner, 16 carries, 63 yards, and 3 catches. He's already picked up 98 from scrimmage. And stake, of course, the winner clinching the division, hosting the Giants. The loser goes to Seattle next weekend.
Well, the key play here in the first half was this one. Clay Matthews, perfectly designed defense. I'm sure Dom Capers about jumped out of the booth. He misses it. And then walking back to the locker room, watch this. I'm not sure exactly what was said. Probably something along the lines of, throw me one more. And you see Matthew Stafford getting a chuckle out of it. But he knew he got away with one there.
Probably saying, you lucky something.
The interesting thing about the league right now, though, is all these players know each other so well. They're at events, they do various things, and so there are relationships that really didn't exist back in the day.
Right. A few of the guys were out with Carrie Underwood when we were filming the Open this summer. Green Bay to get the ball as we start the third quarter. Kick is fielded by Jeff Janis in the end zone to the 25. They'll come, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Mike McCarthy was most upset about all the penalties his offense committed. He told me 7 damn penalties. You can't win a football game that way. 6 of those penalties were accepted. And he also said this game is about making big plays and that Clay Matthews should have made that interception. As for Jim Caldwell, with his team 30 minutes away from what could be their first division title since 1993, he was calm, told his team play better, tackle better, keep running the ball, and simply take it up a notch.
Thank you, Michelle. And of course, this is the team, the Lions, they know how to win from any vantage point. The lead or behind is 8 of their wins have come in the fourth quarter on comebacks as Montgomery takes the ball out to the 30. So Montgomery has been the primary running back. Had a tremendous day a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. Number 88, of course, he was a wide receiver. If they make him a running back next year, he'll have to change his number. But they've been going with Ripkowski. That's only the second carry tonight for Ty Montgomery. And averaging 6 yards per pop. 2nd and 5. And that is caught. And that is Adams is able to squeak free for a first down up to the 38, tackled by Carey.
Yeah, it's interesting. Aaron Rodgers here to start this second half with some quick throws, because it's been a nice mix of coverage, zone, and man by the Detroit Lions. And one guy in particular, Darius Slay, you've got to give him a little credit. Only 1 catch allowed for Jordy Nelson so far for 8 yards after he torched him for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns all in the first half the last time they played.
Packers going no huddle to start the quarter. Rodgers escapes. Keeps his eyes downfield, nothing happening there, and gets to the 40-yard line, short gain.
Darius Slay going against Jordy Nelson, both these guys at the top of their game, and it has been a lot of one-on-one matchups. But remember, Darius Slay didn't even play in the Dallas game last week with a bad hamstring, but here he is really at the key pivotal moments of this game, good enough against Jordy Nelson.
Second and 7. Montgomery is the running back. Fake to him. Montgomery is hurt, and the pass is caught. Flag is thrown. You got Allison making the catch, but Montgomery, you can see him stumble, and he is down at the 34-yard line. So off the play fake, something happens to him, and he'll move over to the sideline. They'll check him out, and we'll check out the penalty from Jerome Boger.
Well, you don't want to volunteer to play running back for the Packers.
Defense, number 26. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is the first down.
Declined because it's an 11-yard catch by Allison.
It was bizarre, almost like coming out of the stance was Montgomery, number 88 right there. It just looked like something sort of cramped or pulled, or fortunately for Aaron Rodgers, it was a bootleg play and he wasn't going to hand it off to him. But one more time, the Green Bay Packers running back goes down.
So Ripkowski comes in. They've had 5 different starting running backs this season. Pass to the outside. Now this is Nelson, and Jordy Nelson, who has been held in check to this point, tackled by Glover Quinn, gain of 5.
And that's what you do sometimes when you have a great player that really has not gotten going in a game. You just get the ball in his hands, and I'm sure that's what Aaron Rodgers was doing there. Okay, we may not hit a big play here, but let's get our guy involved here.
On 2nd and 5, Rodgers, and sliding away, and once again running for a first down. You have all of his numbers, and then once in a while you have to go down to the stat sheet and go, hey, by the way, he can run too.
Yeah, there's Nevin Lawson, the other cornerback, who had not such a good day against the Cowboys, but he's able to do it. And then on the other side, Darius Slay on Devontae Adams. So we are starting to get some one-on-one matchups now. We'll see who can win the longest.
Rodgers has rushed for almost 350 yards this season and a 5.7 average. And Ripkowski will maintain his balance and pick up a little bit of yardage to the 34-yard line. It'll be Second down and 6.
Sean Robinson here is going to miss that one, and what really should have been a tackle for a loss. Boy, these two teams now are going about as fast as I've seen any football game this year.
Second and 6, and the Lions with a flag thrown. They're going to get the Packers are going to get flagged.
Offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Devin Taylor was coming across the line, and Green Bay was trying to get an offside, but instead they get the false start.
But remember, you have to cross the line of scrimmage, and if you don't, then the offensive lineman cannot react. Once you get into that neutral zone, then if the offensive line reacts, it is going to be on the defense. And
Lindsley, the center, got him to move by lifting his head up. Second down and 11. McCarthy telling Michelle, of course, all those penalties are killing him. That's 7 now for 45 yards against Green Bay. The Lions have been penalized only 3 times in the game. Second and 11. Rodgers fires wide open is Nelson. Flag comes in, and Jordy takes the ball to the 18-yard line.
While the quarterback was in the pocket, illegal contact, defense number 54. That penalty is declined. The result of the play was a first down.
20 yards for Jordy Nelson.
Because Randall Cobb is out, you're starting to see some of these option routes inside by Jordy Nelson. You can see him working against Levy right there, and that's what they're going to have to do. And for Aaron Rodgers, you saw him moving around a lot more in that first half. I think now he's going to get his guy, get the ball out of his hands, and start working Jordy Nelson inside.
Play action, pass caught, and it's Nelson taking the ball to the 2-yard line. There you go. Beat Slay, first and goal.
You see the man coverage, and Rodgers did. Able to get in and get underneath that coverage, and for Jordy Nelson, once you get him the ball in his hands, good things start to happen.
It's Randall Cobb right there, inactive tonight. He scored 60 this season. Nelson leading the team. Nelson now has scored 95, so a shot at 100. First and goal from the 3.
Back to man coverage again.
Aaron glanced up at the play clock. It's a 2. He's going to roll to his right. Fire. Caught. Touchdown. Devontae Adams. And he'll get flagged for using the goalpost as a prop. So that'll cost them on the kickoff, but he's into the end zone, and they go 75 yards, 10 plays, 5.5 minutes to retake the lead.
Basically, Aaron Rodgers caught him in this blitz right here.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 17, for hanging on the goalpost. This 15-yard penalty was enforced on the kickoff.
And then it was Jordy Nelson running the underneath route, and there's a pretty good dunk. Not allowed, but pretty impressive.
So Adams into the end zone, so that's 38 touchdown passes for Rodgers. He is tied for the league lead with Matt Ryan of Atlanta. And that's a category in which Aaron has never led the league. One more and he'll do it at 17-14 after the extra point. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That is transparency. By Patriots Day, now playing in select cities everywhere, January the 13th. By Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row. And by Subway, search for better. Well, you go back to the '93 Lions, the last time this franchise won a division title. Some of the guys, of course, they included Barry Sanders, who retired in '98. Martha Firestone Ford, the widow of the late William Clay Ford, who bought the team back in 1963. He died in 2014. Very classy man. And Mrs. Ford has taken over, and she's made her mark in the last couple of years. From the 18-yard line, Andre Roberts gets taken down. Good tackle at the 28. So the Packers They perform what's known as the double down, scoring on the final possession of the first half. And again, after getting the second half kickoff, they've done it 11 times since 08. 5th most in the league. It's something that the Patriots do with regularity. They've done it 19 times, and they're number 1.
You do that a little at the blackjack table.
No, no, I'm a crapshoot.
No, sorry.
I don't play that. Blackjack, boring. From the 29-yard line, the Lions come up in the pistol. Zenner is the running back. Zenner add a few more yards to that total. He had 63 in the opening half. Now 68 on 17 carries. Exactly 4 yards per tote.
Yeah, pretty close to what he did against the Cowboys a week ago. Had 64 yards in the first half against Dallas and only 2 carries for 3 yards. But here they come right out. Give it to them. They're not making that mistake again.
7 wide, 7 high.
Showing too much here. 2nd and 5. And that pass is caught, and that's Zenner again. And he should have enough for a first down, and does. He's tackled there by Clinton Dix. For Zenner now, that's 109 yards from scrimmage in this game.
Yeah, and you're starting to see Clinton Dix, who's fooling around a little with Matthew Stafford. He was down at the line of scrimmage, and then when he backed off, Matthew Stafford said, okay, I'll just take that one right in the flat against your man coverage.
What's that? Hey, give me radar, hey, radar juice, radar juice, radar juice. Back 47. Eddie. Lady. What's that?
And here comes radar 2. Stafford fires, and that is incomplete. Intended for Marvin Jones. Stafford in the first half tonight.
Yeah, it just working at an unbelievable pace out there. He has missed a couple of big opportunities, but boy, on that final drive before the half, he was firing the ball around, got away with one to Clay Matthews. That's the big play to TJ Jones down the field. I would think more of those opportunities on this right side are going to be available if they want to take some more shots.
2nd and 10. Stafford last time caught to the 45-yard line. Goes Ebron, and that will make it 3rd down and 5. Eric Ebron was their #1 draft choice back in 2014 out of North Carolina. Good pass catcher, getting a little bit better in terms of blocking. Career high 55 receptions, but just one time has he gotten into the end zone this season.
A little bit better as far as blocking.
All right, minimal.
He's a really good pass catcher.
Giving him some sugar. 3rd and 5 from the 45-yard line.
Ready. Lady. What's up?
Under pressure, and down he goes. Nick Perry. I just was thinking about mentioning the fact that Perry and Matthews, they're 2 big stars, and Perry's had a great year. He's got that club on the left hand. Haven't mentioned their name at all tonight, and then Perry comes in and gets the sack.
Yeah, it's really the first time we've seen it. Had a couple of sacks coming back last week, and obviously can't do a lot with that club on that left hand, but he did have 2 sacks last week, and so much the key. When he gets it going, everything seems to start happening. A remarkable year for him.
Sam Martin. Good, deep, booming kick. Micah Hyde from the 9. And there's a little dancing and darting, and takes the ball to the 15-yard line. So you've got 6.5 to go in the 3rd. 17-14 Packers. Defensive coordinator Terrell Austin of the Detroit Lions came over here with Caldwell in 2014. They were a great defense that year, and his name has been bandied about as one of those assistant coaches, and probably will be again. And another guy who just got fired today was Chip Kelly at San Francisco. So already the dominoes have begun to fall, and the question becomes, who are the ascendants? And Austin's name, I'm sure, will be thrown into the hopper. No question.
No question about it. I bet you he gets at least 3 or 4 interviews out of this.
So from the 15-yard line, the Green Bay Packers up by 3, trying to win a home game against the Giants. And the ball is handed to Ripkowski. Good stiff arm. And Ripkowski up to the 22-yard line.
You know, Terrell Austin was talking about trying to play against Aaron Rodgers, and the hard thing that you have to do is try and keep him in the pocket. They want Aaron Rodgers throwing out of the pocket, not getting outside, not getting all those movement plays. They want him throwing from right there.
He leads the league by a mile in touchdown passes from outside the pocket. They keep him in this time. He goes deep downfield and too deep, intended for Geronimo Allison, the rookie out of Illinois. It'll be third down.
Well, we talked about the pass blocking of these offensive tackles, and you see David Bakhtiari right here working against Ziggy Ansah, who really has been hot here lately. A couple of sacks the last 2 games. He had 14.5 sacks a year ago and just 2 this year. So a nice test for Bakhtiari, but he has been up to it so far.
Meanwhile, Ansah has to come off. He got shaken up on that play. There he is, holding his right arm. Got Montgomery, his helmet back on. We saw him limping off last time Green Bay had the ball. 6 minutes left in the quarter. Third down and 3.
And Jordy Nelson back in the slot again.
Ripkowski does it again. Well, I tell you, who would have ever thought, Chris? You come into a game, it's week 17, and we're talking about Ripkowski and Zenner as your 2 top, running backs here.
It is a war of attrition, and it's one of the things that Bob Quinn did when he came in here. No Calvin Johnson. They had a little more money. They added some depth to this roster. You have to be ready to play with 2nd and 3rd string guys as you head into the playoffs.
From the 27. Rodgers. 31-yard line. Kerry Hyder, 61. Sean Robinson, 91. Corral him.
Kerry Hyder gave him a bit of a shot there. Watch at the tail end of this, and you're going to see Aaron Rodgers' knee buckle. Hyder's going to come in from the left, and that looked a little nasty. Luckily, Aaron Rodgers didn't have that foot on the ground, and there goes Brian Bulaga off the field.
Right tackle off to the sideline. 2nd down and 6. Jason Spriggs, a rookie, number 2 draft choice out of Indiana, comes in along the front.
Spriggs, their 2nd-round draft pick. Good player.
Got Montgomery back in. Give it to him. Spins to the outside. Ty Montgomery picks up a 1st down.
We were kind of joking around with Ty Montgomery last night. He runs a little like Le'Veon Bell, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Watch the patience and then the bounce out with the speed of a wide receiver. Had a huge day against the Chicago Bears, 160+ yards there. And for a guy who used to play wide out, that is all pretty impressive stuff. I don't know exactly what it was that forced him off the field, but he looked healthy there.
1st down from the 42. Montgomery the back. They give it to him. Hey Chris, you got to give a little. Sports Illustrated had a really good piece on Mike McCarthy. Where's the love for Mike McCarthy? I mean, all he's done now, he's gone to the playoffs 8 straight years. He even had to go in a press conference talking about that. He's been a successful NFL coach. 11 years, only Vince Lombardi coaching in more games in Green Bay.
But don't you think a little of that is the curse of Aaron Rodgers? It's like, hey, you've got Aaron Rodgers. You should be winning the world championship every 2nd or 3rd year.
As Curly Lambeau the most, and then he's coached in more games than Lombardi did in Green Bay. 2nd and 13. A little shovel pass to Montgomery. And Montgomery will take the ball out to the 45-yard line.
It's interesting. McCarthy had to have a talk, basically, with Ty Montgomery and say, listen, I know you used to play a little running back. I need you. I need you to switch and go back there and play running back for us. And he said, can I go to the running back room right now? I mean, it was like a 1-second decision. I think it's something he's been wanting to do as well as he looked around at some of the other talent in that wide receiver room.
Big third down play as we come down toward the end of the quarter. 3rd and 7. This will go against the Packers.
Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Lane Taylor, left guard. Make it 3rd and 12.
It has definitely been a factor, and you're talking about such a huge difference if the Detroit Lions can get out of here with a win and play a playoff game here as opposed to going on the road and hearing all that noise in Seattle.
Montgomery goes into the slot. Sent 5 receivers out. Pass is thrown to Montgomery, but he'll get wrestled down at the 42-yard line, and that'll force a Packer punt.
Well, you're seeing Gerald Austin unwilling now to sit back and let Aaron Rodgers take his time. We saw this a little bit in the second half against the Vikings. They brought some pressure and were able to get there, but in that long yardage situation, forced the ball out of his hands and force a punt. Now it's up to Matthew Stafford to get it going.
Jacob Shunt to Roberts, who's run back 2 punts for touchdowns this season. And that one's going to bounce at the 8 and then deaden and be down at the 4-yard line. So Roberts lets it go and Shunt pins them deep with 1.5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Packed by 3. A couple of big names have left the Lions. Just past maybe the prime of their careers. Calvin Johnson, 9 seasons, 1,214 receiving yards last year, so he was a long way from being done. And so was Barry Sanders, who played 10 years and retired at age 30. He had 1,491 yards in his final season. The interesting thing is that both of the teams have who succeeded the retirements of those 2 guys made the playoffs. Detroit went to the playoffs in '99, lost to Washington in a wild card game, and the Lions will be in the playoffs next week, either here or in Seattle. From the 10-yard line, stop at the line of scrimmage by Zach Zenner. So it's great when the NFL season comes down to this, with Washington losing today, but these 2 teams get into the playoffs. But still a very significant difference in this game. They're both in, but either you have to win 3 on the road, or you at least get a home game.
And all that really matters is a shot at the Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody says. And a home game in the next round of the playoff definitely enhances that opportunity.
But don't forget, when Green Bay won the Super Bowl in 2010, they were the 6th seed and won the 3 road games before winning the Super Bowl in Dallas against Pittsburgh. 2nd and 11, going deep, and it is hauled in at the 42-yard line by Marvin Jones, the former Bengal, who had a big day against the Packers in week 3.
And guess which side one more time? Working on the right side over there, which is the easier side for the quarterback to see. But time after time this season, the Packers come with a blitz, and they just can't match up with their corners on the outside. And boy, for Marvin Jones, it has been a big year.
Injury time out here. $12 million on the line. It's The Wall. It's the name of the show. 2-night premiere starts tomorrow, 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC, downtown Detroit on this Sunday night. Meanwhile, the injured player is the cornerback Quentin Rollins, and we'll take a look and see what happened to him, but he is still down on the Lions sideline.
Watch his head here as he rolls over the top, sort of bangs it off the ground after making contact with Marvin Jones. Boy, this has just been a hard hit area of the team. They started with Sam Shields and Dimitri Goodson and Quentin Rollins. Darius Randall's had all kinds of injuries. Darius Gunner had to leave the game last week with an elbow. Boy, anytime they start taking your helmet off slowly and all that, all the players and his teammates assume the position.
Medical folks taking every precaution with Quentin Rollins, who looked like he was moving right after the play was over, but now they've strapped him to the board. One more look at it. Hit points up on the helmet. Head hits the turf right in front of the Detroit bench. So he will go back to the locker room. Obviously, Michelle will have an update very shortly. They also are minus Mackinton Dorleant, a backup cornerback, a rookie out of Northern Iowa, who was taken to the locker room on a cart.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of family members. This is awfully tough. There was a bit of good news. As soon as he rolled over, you did see him put his hand down, and there was a little movement. But anytime there's any kind of any issue at all with the neck, they are going to do exactly that. So we will get you information as quickly as possible.
Back to the Packer locker room, and when play resumes, 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Green Bay is up by 3. Micah Hyde now, who is a safety by trade, may have to play the role of corner, as Detroit has it at the 34-yard line. They also bring Kentrell Bryce in. He is a rookie out of Louisiana Tech. Undrafted rookie. He's in there. And play resumes with the Lions at the 34-yard line.
And they have safeties guarding wide receivers one-on-one. This is going to be tough.
And they play single high here. They put Hyde in the corner and keep it on the ground here, and center goes nowhere in the final half minute of the third quarter. So for Detroit, as we go to the fourth quarter, in 15 of their 16 games this season, they have trailed in the fourth quarter.
Lions have them right where they want them.
Yeah, in a way they do.
This is when they operate best.
They've had those 8 fourth quarter rallies. Some of them are wild. And play expires into the third quarter. So down the stretch we come, 17-14 Green Bay, and Sunday Night Football from Detroit. Back after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage is being brought to you by Geico. Looking to the south and the Detroit River. Canada on the left. Downtown Detroit right underneath you. What's at stake? Winner wins the division and meets the Giants on their home field. Loser goes to Seattle. Start the fourth. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya on a 2nd and 13 for the Lions from their own 31-yard line. Off the play fake. Pass is incomplete. 3rd and long, and here's Michelle.
Well, you saw Quentin Rollins leave the field on a cart. He has been taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital. He is out with a neck injury. As for Demarius Randall, he is questionable with a knee injury. And McKinton Dorleant, who you noted left on a cart as well, is questionable with a knee injury. So the secondary of this Green Bay Packers team, hard hit tonight.
Very much so. And you know, Chris mentioned all the way back to Sam Shields and all of that. So they're just plugging in people all over the joint right now. Safeties at corners and the slot. And we'll see if Stafford can take advantage of it. 3rd and 13. Matthew has time and overthrows the intended receiver deep downfield. That's Andre Roberts. I'll tell you what, you know, I'm watching the Detroit line, Chris. They're doing a great job on Matthews tonight. He just can't get in there.
Yeah, and they're having to resort to this 2-man coverage. Here comes Matthews off the edge, and Taylor Decker, the young tackle, doing a nice job. But you see the man underneath coverage with the 2 deep safeties, but Morgan Burnett not used to having to cover a wide receiver in that kind of situation.
Martin's kick fielded at the 19 and going nowhere is Micah Hyde. He gets tackled in his tracks. 21 seconds into the fourth quarter.
Well, we talked a little bit about the offensive line of the Green Bay Packers. How good are they? Here's how good. Those three guys are the best at their respective positions in pass blocking. Number one for Bakhtiari Lang and Balaga. And the other guys aren't bad either, Corey Lindsley and Lane Taylor. So they are going to have to continue to come up big here for Aaron Rodgers and for the Detroit Lions. They need something here out of Ziggy Ansah, out of some of these pass rushers to just throw Aaron Rodgers off a bit. But remember, they're just trying to keep him contained in that pocket, so that may be slowing him down a little bit too.
Balaga's back in. There's the play fake to Christian Michael. Rodgers is going to take off again, and Aaron Rodgers has a first down. He makes it look easy. I mean, we were talking to him last night, as you mentioned. You know, what is it? He says a lot of it's instinct and film study.
Yeah, and really he's not trying to get out to run. Watch him. He's going to pull up and look to pass, and then when it's not there, then he takes off, and he's elusive enough to pick up those big first downs. If you can remember the first game against the Lions, it looked like the Lions were going to mount this huge comeback, and what happened? Late in that game, it was Aaron Rodgers running the ball that won the football game.
Late in a lot of games over his 9 years as a starter. Spent 3 years on the bench back at Brett Favre when he first got drafted. On first down, little toss to Christian Michael, and the ex-Seahawk takes it up to the 35-yard line, and there's a flag down. Nine penalties already on Green Bay.
Doing the run, illegal block in the back, offense, number 70, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's T.J. Lang, and that's going to make it 10 penalties for 75 yards against the Packers.
Every once in a while, when you get a running back that starts crossing back across the field the other way, there you're going to see the shot right there by T.J. Lang, and that's the one that got called. Pretty mean stiff arm there by Christian Michael, who has bounced around just about everywhere. I think we've called him with 3 different teams this year. It's like, wait a minute, is this guy on our boards again?
Yep. I feel like I'm doing him every other week.
I think we're following him.
First and 16. Devontae Adams was in the backfield. Pass is hauled in Detroit territory by Geronimo Allison, who had that big 39-yard reception at the end of the first half to set up a Crosby 53-yarder. Another catch here for 31.
They have been running this pattern a lot. The little down, out, and up, and they get just a little pick going down the field. And what a story Geronimo Allison has become. He had a nice day in the game last week, and you can tell that Aaron Rodgers trusts him. He said, I have to trust you guys in practice to know what you're doing in this hurry-up, no-huddle offense before I trust you in the game. He said, this young man has gotten it from the beginning.
Absolutely, and Rodgers doesn't expect it, and then gets it off to Adams, who was lined up in the backfield, and the Packers get away with one. Almost a disaster there, as Rodgers was not expecting the snap, but quickly recovers and gets it to Adams for a 7-yard gain.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers' best play of the game. He got hit right in the gut with a snap. Absolutely no idea this thing was coming. A, he catches it. B, gets behind the receiver, so it's not a lateral. C, gets it out, and they pick up 7 yards on the play instead of what for most quarterbacks would have been, I'm just going to fall down on the field and take a 5-yard loss.
Or fumble and recovered by Detroit.
Pretty good hands right there by Aaron Rodgers.
Bring a fullback in the game. This time it's Joe Carriage. Running back is Michael. It's 2nd down and 3. And Rodgers pressured, gets away, and just throws it away. That time coming in from his blind side with a clear shot at him was Kerry Hyder, who leads the team in sacks. So Rodgers sensed it. Throws it away, 3rd and 3.
You just have to wonder how much Christian Michael knows about this offense. You know, Aaron Rodgers, if you watch him breaking the huddle, when there's a new guy back there, Ty Montgomery, Christian Michael, he'll often turn to the back and tell him exactly what to do when they're breaking the huddle. And I guarantee you Christian Michael is getting a little lesson, as is Ty Montgomery, every single time he leaves the huddle.
3rd and 3. Montgomery back in the backfield. And that's a pass that's caught for a first down. And to the 22-yard line goes Jared Cook, the tight end. Beats Miles Killebrew, the safety. First down, Green Bay.
It's just too much of a matchup here. You know, this guy has been doing this. He's really just a bigger wide receiver, a Calvin Johnson kind of wide receiver on the outside. And you try and match up a safety against him in Miles Killebrew, and he's just going to win that battle. It was really interesting when we talked to Aaron Rodgers about this win streak, and he went right there. He said Jared Cook is the difference in what we've been doing.
Quick toss, Jordan Nelson stiff arm, and that's enough to gain the extra yardage and a first down as he pushes Slay out of the way.
You see it time after time. Anytime you give this kind of cushion, that's got to be 7 or 8 yards on the outside by Slay. And Aaron Rodgers with that quick turn, you know, it doesn't matter which way he's throwing it, left, right, he can get it out of his hand about as quickly as anybody.
Well, Slay had been questionable before the game, missing the last 2. They really missed him against Dallas last week when the Cowboys lit him up for 6 touchdowns, and he's hurt again. There is Busch Stadium in St. Louis. No, the Cardinals are not playing tomorrow, but the Blues are against the Chicago Blackhawks. Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic, Chicago and St. Louis on NBC tomorrow. Great sight. Well, Slay came out of the game. He has to come out for at least 1 play. And Johnson Batamosi comes in. Picked him up from Cleveland.
Guess who he's guarding?
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers is always looking for the open wound. 1st and 10 from the 11. And this time it is Michael, and he spins around and gets the ball to the 10 for a gain of 1. 2nd and 9. Now Slay comes back in.
Yeah, it was a good call, too, defensively by Terrell Austin. He did not leave Batamosi out there one-on-one. They had 2 safeties back to help, and probably now come back to some of their man coverage, maybe even some blitz.
So Batamosi out, Slay is back in.
Slay right back out on Jordy Nelson.
On the outside. Montgomery in the backfield. 2nd and 9. Rodgers over the middle, and that's intended for Montgomery and incomplete. Josh Bynes, the linebacker, covering the play. 3rd down and 9.
Boy, it's about exactly what you would hope for coming out to hit that in cut. You got a wide receiver out here working against a linebacker. Just couldn't hit it.
Oh, pass right there.
I just wonder if for some reason Montgomery just didn't even see that ball.
3rd and 9. Packers go 5 wide. Lions rush 4. There goes Rodgers again. Looking to the outside again. Throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown by Geronimo Allison. I mean, you can't stop him if he does that. What do you have the ball? 8, 9 seconds? Put the clock on it.
This is what's so difficult to defend, whether you're in man coverage, which they are here, plenty of time. He's scrambling around, buying time, and eventually one of these wide receivers uncover. They practice this all the time. People think, oh my goodness, it's street ball. They're just, no. They, every single day in practice, when we get the opportunity to go there, Aaron Rodgers, even when there's nobody else on the field, will take off and start moving around to try and come up with plays like that. They're used to it.
And Aaron Rodgers has just thrown his 39th touchdown pass of the season, so he breaks the tie with Ryan, and he will lead the league in touchdown passes for the first time. Crosby for the point after. Ooh, and the kick is no good. So it's a 9-point game. Still 2 possessions, though, for Green Bay, up by 9 with 10 minutes to play in Detroit on Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Volkswagen, by Samsung Pay, turn your phone into your wallet, and by AT&T. Well, there are some of the individual champions. Breeze in passing yards. You saw Vic Beasley under the radar in Atlanta, led the league in sacks. Zeke Elliott, the rookie, in rushing. And the venerable one, Larry Fitzgerald, most catches. There's the venerable one for Green Bay, having another tremendous year. 3 touchdowns tonight. Now this is going to be run out from the end zone. And a good run back to the 31-yard line by Andre Roberts. And back we go to the touchdown.
So you want to play defensive back in the NFL. Watch on the left-hand side, Geronimo Allison. He's working against Dan Carey, who's done a terrific job to this point, right? And now all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers, here we go. And there goes Allison back the other way. Taylor Whitehead picks him up, and still to no avail. Carey had to cover him for about 5 seconds, and he basically gave up. But I guarantee you, for Aaron Rodgers, Geronimo Allison just went way up his list with that scramble drill.
He's caught 4 passes tonight from 91 yards. Now on the ground, this is center to the 36-yard line. They haven't done much running in this half. Detroit had 70 rushing yards in the first half and only 6 here in the second. There is the undrafted free agent who was on the practice squad. Made his NFL debut in Atlanta at the end of October. And he's made a splash.
He is not going to be leaving the lineup anytime soon. Randall Cobb may be coming back from that ankle injury. Sure, he'll just work into the mix.
Second down and 5. 9:20 left in the fourth. Pass, set up a screen, and Tate makes the most of it by getting 4, maybe 5. It depends where they spot it, close to a first.
Well, once again, you're just Micah Hyde, who is basically a safety, does a little slot stuff, so he's not used to getting picked off of those plays. So they're now going to challenge Micah Hyde, and now Morgan Burnett is out playing the slot. We saw this a little bit in the very first game of the year when they had a lot of injuries in that first game against Jacksonville. They had to go to some makeshift stuff, and Burnett was the guy that played in the slot in that game too.
Yeah, that was opening day in 90-degree heat in Florida. That was a first down, so Stafford now is going to fire over the middle, and getting open and making the catch at the 36-yard line is Marvin Jones, having a big night, tackled by the rookie Bryce.
Anytime you're facing a zone defense, if you can buy a little time, watch Matthew Stafford here. Just move around, buy a little time. Eventually those zones break down because those stretch receivers that are running the verticals down the field take the deep coverage, and then there's those angles across the field just like that.
Jones 5 catches tonight. Marvin Jones for 76 yards. And that is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second down and 10. Kenny Clark is there, number 97.
Yeah, Kenny Clark, one of a couple of the young guys on that defensive line that they like. Dean Lowry, we've seen him make some plays. Kenny Clark in there. Letroy Guion, of course, the big guy in the middle. He's not going to replace him. Such a great run stuffer, but that depth is coming into play the way the Lions play.
Blitz on second down, and the pass is dropped at the 31-yard line. T.J. Jones had a big, long 35-yard reception in the first half. Can't hold on 3rd and 10.
You got to have a little respect for Ladarius Gunter. Went out of the game after 19 snaps in the last game, but comes right back, and they have to have him here. They basically have no choice. Beautifully played that time by Gunter. Not the fastest guy in the world, but boy, is he a technician.
Under 8 left in the fourth. 3rd and 10. Center in for some protection, then he flares out. And Stafford fires, and that's incomplete. That's intended for T.J. Jones. Clinton Dix covering. Now you got 4th and 10. All right, so you're down by 10. You got a really good field goal kicker, but do you want to try a field goal from here? The downside, of course, is that you give Green Bay the ball back near midfield if you miss it.
Well, I think you have to, and this guy has been lights out from long distance, got a long of 58, and in his career 35 for 44 over 50 yards, so pretty remarkable record.
54-yard attempt. He missed one from 39 earlier, but this time he turns it into a one-possession game. Straight down Woodward Avenue. 23-17 Green Bay, 7:42 left. Well, the playoffs are almost set. It depends on what happens in this game. And on our post-game show, we'll have all of the matchups for you. We'll have all of the television coverage for you Saturday and Sunday in the wild card round. But probably won't know the exact schedule until we find out the result of this one. Again, the winner of this game hosts the Giants next weekend, and the loser goes to Seattle. So you got Janice back deep along with Kristen Michael. And that kick will sail through the end zone. So Rodgers and company will go to work up at the 25-yard line.
Well, it has been something so far tonight to watch these two quarterbacks go back and forth, but Aaron Rodgers starting to heat up now, and he's finding the young receiver, Geronimo Allison, more often than not. Saved a play there, did Rodgers. But you can see when he starts to get in a rhythm, it is awfully tough on any defense, and then when he starts that scramble drill, nobody's come up with an answer all season long.
Pretty average first half, good second half. With the 2 touchdowns, 13 of 16 is Rodgers from the 25. This drive begins with an inside handoff to Montgomery, and Ty Montgomery puts his head down, takes it out to the 32-yard line for a gain of 7, tackled by Tyre Whitehead.
Yeah, we were asking about Ty Montgomery. He said, are you more exhausted and more beat up after playing running back than you were playing wide receiver? And he said, you know, a little more exhausted because at wideout, sometimes the runs away and you kind of take a play off. At running back, you're smashing into somebody or blocking somebody on every single play.
Packers have rushed to 124 tonight, 61 by Ripkowski. 2nd and 3. Rodgers throws, and that's hauled in, but it's going to be maybe a little short of the first. Devontae Adams, let's see where they're going to give him the spot. They're going to give him the spot just about at the line to gain. Forward progress, boy, that's really close.
I'm not sure about this spot.
Yeah, they give him a first down.
He comes back. There's no way he was at that line, but you know, Jim Caldwell, he treasures those timeouts.
Well, he does, and he may send the flag out here, and he does. So again, you know, what you really need is a landmark, you know, something along the sideline. Or
Detroit is challenging the order of the field that the ball carrier made the line to gain.
Something that indicates where the line of scrimmage is. If he wins the challenge, it would be 3rd down and whatever they'd have left, which appears to be the issue or the case.
At least a yard short of that line to gain. That's a good challenge. We had a long conversation with Jim Caldwell about what he was going to do. You know, he just will not give up those timeouts. But anytime you're talking about setting up a 3rd and 1 kind of situation with a chance to get the ball back this late in the game, you have no choice.
Yeah, he had to do this because the guys upstairs tell him, hey, look, you'll probably win, so you don't get charged with a timeout.
So until both those feet come down on the ground, that is not a catch.
And this figures to be reversed, setting up a 3rd down and 3/4 of a yard.
Yeah, what we've seen so far in that situation is a lot of Aaron Ripkowski.
After reviewing the play, the rule on the field is being changed to short of the line to gain. It'll be 3rd and 1 on the 34-yard line. Detroit is not charged with timeout.
Call was successful. All right, what does McCarthy, who is the play caller, go with here tonight? 3 for 3 on 3rd and short. Got Montgomery in the backfield. Rodgers is going to take the snap out of the gun on 3rd and 1. Lions come up, show blitz. And Rodgers is going to take it himself. He does everything. First down. What a call. It's easy to say what a call because it works, but what a call.
Well, you just don't think that you're going to put that $1 million guy right there, but in Ziggy Ansah, he was going in there trying to make a big play, and Aaron Rodgers just pulls the thing out. Even Joe Namath did it once, so look at him.
Oh yeah,
loves to compete, doesn't he?
Loves to compete. Loves to practice, and that's quite a disparity with his predecessor. The ball is at the 47-yard line. And Rodgers buying time, throws deep downfield, and that's incomplete. We put the flag down. Pressure put on by Whitehead. Flag is right about the 50-yard line on the other side of the field, so totally away from the play.
Holding. Defense number 23. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Darius Slay.
Up at the top of your screen there. Got a whole chunk of that jersey, but I tell you, for that penalty, Aaron Rodgers took a pretty good shot at the end of this one. Of course, you're outside the pocket. You got some different rules that apply out there.
So 5:35, first down. They're in Detroit territory. Field goal would turn it into a 2-possession game, and they can try to chew up some of the clock as well. As Rodgers throws incomplete. Intended for Jared Cook. We go to Michelle.
Well, earlier we saw Packers cornerback Quentin Rollins leave the field on a cart and leave the stadium by ambulance. I can tell you now he is at a local hospital. He's conscious and has movement, and he's remaining in that hospital for further evaluation. But some positive news in that he is conscious and there is movement. Guys?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Michelle. So good news there. Matthews watching his offense here, trying to almost salt this away if they can get some points on this drive. 2nd and 10. Rodgers throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Devontae Adams. Don Carey came in on the safety blitz. We were talking about Rodgers before. We were talking about practice. He loves to practice. He comes up to the line of scrimmage here to not let Detroit sub, and Rodgers over the middle throws, and that's incomplete. You got 2 receivers in the same area. So you got Nelson and Cook. Nelson looking for a flag. There is none. And Green Bay tried to catch him flat-footed.
And that was very close right there. Those Detroit Lions defenders screaming off the field.
Now you've got a flag.
12 men participating in the play. Defense.
I thought that was
5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
And again, it's almost like when he gets you to go offside, he gets the free play. He knows when you have the extra guy in the huddle. He rushes to the line, he gets the play off and gets the penalty.
One of the really hard parts about having Ty Montgomery in the backfield is when they split him out, now you've got issues. Here we go down here in the bottom. You're going to see, does he get off the field or not?
Doesn't.
He did not.
And you saw Rodgers looking in that direction, looked right at him. Knew what he had, gets the penalty, makes it 3rd down and 5. You got Richard Rodgers and Montgomery both in the backfield. And he slips the pass, it's caught, it's Ty Montgomery, and that's a first down to the 34, and he stays in bounds to keep the clock going. Just to finish, we were talking before about Rodgers and how he loves to practice. When Brett Favre was ending his career, I remember Brett saying to us many times, you know what? I love the games I'm just bored with practice.
And this guy's never bored with anything. He went through not only talking about how much he loves to compete and practice, but with his girlfriend playing some crazy game. He went on for 5 minutes on that. So he won some game earlier this week he was all excited about.
From the 34-yard line.
V19! V19!
And slipping through is Montgomery, and that's a 9-yard gain. So chewing up yardage, chewing up the clock, clearly in field goal range, down to 4:23 and counting.
You know, once again, it is Ty Montgomery. Watch him be patient here and then go. We talk about it with Le'Veon Bell all the time. Pretty amazing for a guy that comes in and plays running back from the wide receiver position to be that skilled, but he has plenty of experience playing that running back position throughout the course of his life, and he is the #1 rated most elusive running back since he switched to that position. You can imagine trying to tackle a wide receiver in the open field.
2nd and 1. Look at this formation with 4 guys in the backfield, and then pulling his way for a first down to the 21-yard line is Ty Montgomery, and Caldwell now has to start thinking about when does he want to take his timeouts.
You know, and it's just so brutal because they had him backed up. What was it, 3rd and 9, and they end up trapping him with that one guy barely doesn't get off the field, shorten the field, and keep this drive alive. But it has just been that sort of perfected use of the quarterback position that has made it so hard to beat the Green Bay Packers down the stretch of any season.
Clock running down to 3 minutes on a first down from the 21-yard line. Rodgers uses all of the play clock, and now he's going to take a timeout before he had a delay assessed. So timeout. Well, it's really going to be interesting. I mean, the matchups in the playoffs are we don't know what they'll be yet, but somebody's got to go into Seattle. The Giants are hot. How about that defense? And the Giants in the game that really had nothing at stake. Washington had everything at stake, and the Giants came up with a big one today.
You got Russell Wilson, you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Tom Brady, you have Ben Roethlisberger, you have Eli Manning. So you have quarterbacks in this thing that have made the entire run, right?
Yep.
And then you have the great unknown. You got Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys as the #1 seed. They're going to be able to play in Dallas throughout the course of this thing. So it really is setting up to just a tremendous playoff series.
Yeah, a lot of matchups we haven't seen before. Oakland, of course, Oakland's just got huge problems now at quarterback. Obviously, Glenn got hurt today. We know Carr is out. They had to go to Connor Cook, and they have to go to Houston next week. They have their own issues.
Chiefs, they've been red hot.
And don't forget the Atlanta Falcons, which everybody seems to have forgotten about. The #2 seed. Here's Jordy Nelson taking it to the 16, and Caldwell says, I will take a timeout here to stop the clock with 2:59. So they have 2 remaining.
I just wonder how many Lions fans are sitting there going, I have seen this movie before. You know, when it all matters, and you're thinking, okay, we've got Aaron Rodgers coming in here, and we got a chance to win the division first time since '93, and got my Lions hat on, and I'm feeling good. Our team wins all these games in the clutch, and the boogeyman comes in and is doing it to him again. You know, I mean, Aaron Rodgers just has a way within this division of making plays when it matters most. The play he made against the Chicago Bears, that deep throw down the field to Jordy Nelson to win that one.
Well,
time after time.
The boogeyman really would have come in if Washington had beaten the Giants today, because then the loser of this game would have been out of the playoffs. 2nd and 5. And here's Montgomery, and he's going to get a first down instead of a 1st and goal. Now Detroit is really in no man's land. Do they take their timeout here? They do. There's only 1 remaining plus the 2-minute warning, but already 1st and goal.
Talked about the elusiveness. Watch this one. Tahir Whitehead has a clean shot. No way you can miss that tackle. And that is exactly what Ty Montgomery has done. He is 225 pounds. Now, don't think of him as a 175-pound wide receiver. 225 pounds with that elite quickness. He is as good as there is at making single tacklers miss him in the open field.
So 1st and goal, Detroit. 1 timeout plus the 2-minute warning. Stafford can only hope for another shot. Lions dancing around, showing blitz. Here they come. Here's the pass. It's Adams in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown. Davante Adams working on Nevin Lawson. And Aaron Rodgers tonight has thrown 4 touchdowns, and that gives him an even 300 yards on the evening.
The boogeyman hard at work tonight. This time to Davante Adams. He saw the blitz. Everybody saw the blitz. You know it's one-on-one coverage. And Davante Adams, now that his 11th touchdown of the year, he's had a few drops along the way, but that balance, along with Jordy Nelson and now Jared Cook getting back into form, you give that guy a few weapons.
And add 1 more. He has an even dozen now because he's got 2 in the game tonight with 6 catches. 2-point attempt to try to make it a 14-point game. They're up by 12.
Who wants to play these guys right now?
Yeah, well, that's, you know, if they hold on to the victory here, that'll be 6 wins in a row for the Packers. The 2-point attempt, pass caught, and it is good to Davante Adams again. So all 8 points on that drive belong to him, and it's 31-17. You know, the boogeyman, as I said, imagine if Washington had won that game and the loser would have been out, unless this game would have wound up in a tie. I was thinking, as you look at the touchdown passes this year, Aaron with 40, Ryan 38, Breeze 37, Phillip Rivers with 33, your top 4. If this game would have wound up in a tie and Washington had won, Dan Snyder would have had a congressional investigation tomorrow.
I just don't think it could have happened.
No.
I just don't. I don't think anybody would have done it. But it is, you know, the one guy who wasn't on that list, if I've got this right, Tom Brady this season, 28 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions.
Missed 4 games.
Yeah, and Nick Foles had the 27-2. So I think that's the new standard as far as that percentage goes. So who do you vote for the MVP? I've been going back and forth on this one quite a bit. I think you can make a case for quite a few guys. Matt Ryan, Tom Brady's been unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers calling his shot here at the end of the season. David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott. Who do you like?
I'm going to send it to the Electoral College. Because I don't know who wins the popular vote in this category.
Oh,
it's crazy. You know, the Elliott and Prescott will probably savage each other to a certain degree, and Rookie of the Year as well. Matt Ryan, I mean, he's had a phenomenal year top to bottom. But it's going to be a very contested election. 4th quarter comebacks for the Lions. This would be the capper, though, if they could do it. They have 8 wins, 6 of the 8 here, and they've won 6 straight games here. So they've overcome small deficits. They'd have to overcome a 14-point deficit. Peyton Manning had 7 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter back in 09. So Matthew has had 8. But this would be the capper. From the 25-yard line. Stafford over the middle, and that's dropped incomplete. Anquan Bolden, intended receiver. Morgan Burnett covering on the play, 2nd down to 10.
How about Morgan Burnett here being able to go out as a true safety and hang with wide receivers on the outside? His versatility may well make him the MVP of this defense, even though he never made the Pro Bowl, and that really coming from Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Just able to do so much.
He gets them all lined up. Woo! And that pass is caught, and then taken down is Ebron, and he stays in bounds, so that keeps the clock rolling.
I tell you, Dom Capers has a magic wand. How he's holding this explosive offense to 17 points with who he has left in his holster, I have no idea.
Stafford fires, and that's caught, and into Green Bay territory goes Ebron, so they hit the tight end again. Clock will stop at the 2-minute warning, 14 seconds away. Ball is at the 45-yard line. Play off before that 2-minute warning to take advantage of it. And Stafford's going to step up and throw, and that's caught over the middle. And you got Tate going to the 21-yard line, and that comes with a 2-minute warning at 1:57. So Tate exhausted, but he has the ball at the 21-yard line. Tanked over McGee. 31-17. Well, Volkswagen postgame report. Detroit's very own Mike Tirico is here, and he'll unveil the entire playoff schedule for next weekend. Michelle on the field with the stars of the game, and we'll take a look ahead to wild card weekend. Now, as far as the AFC is concerned, we know what's happening there in terms of the matchups. Dolphins will be at the Steelers, and the Raiders will be at the Texans. Patriots are the #1 seed. Chiefs, big day for them. They beat San Diego, and Oakland lost. So the Chiefs, who would have been 5, are 2. They would have most likely had to play 3 road games had they been the 5, and that's what Oakland's going to probably have to do right now, as opposed to having a week off and a home game in 2 weeks.
The Raiders have to be sick.
Oh, man.
I mean, just sick. They were such a good team, and it's going to be tough from here.
So who's the sickest today? Well, the Raiders are sick. Washington is really sick.
A lot of coaches.
A lot of coaches are sick and
unemployed.
Probably more tomorrow. So Black Monday has been moved up to a Sunday. It's an unhappy New Year for a lot of guys, and lots of them all over the next couple of weeks as positions get filled. Detroit 1 timeout, 1:57, first down to the 21-yard line. Stafford and the Lions pull off a miracle here.
Bringing those pass rushers inside now.
And Stafford's going to throw, and that's tipped and incomplete. Ladarius Gunter is able to tip it away from Marvin Jones, 2nd down and 10.
You know, it's just fun for me to watch Ladarius Gunter play. Here's a guy that probably runs about a 4.65, playing the cornerback position. But if he gets his hands on you at all in that bump and run, not many good things happen for the offense.
2nd and 10. Bring an extra pass rusher. That's caught at the 16-yard line. Caught by Ebron. Gets taken down by Clinton Dix. Saving their timeout. 3rd down and a 4. 37, 136. Going down. Fires, and that is going to be Micah Hyde coming away with it in the end zone for a touchback. Micah Hyde with the interception on Golden Tate. And as you said, Craig, you got guys playing all over the field in that secondary. You move Hyde to the outside, he gets the game-sealing interception.
I mean, there's a lot of contact out here, but Micah Hyde, game on the line, just plays it perfectly. And the biggest thing he did was he squeezed them right into the pylon over there. There's nowhere to go. Wrestling going on, arms around each other on both sides. Officials say play on, and Matthew Stafford can't believe it. But I got to tell you, for all we talk about Aaron Rodgers and this offense, what this defense did tonight with the division on the line, with nobody left to play cornerback, was one of the great shows we've seen this year.
Tremendous. And what they've done is won a home game next week. So the New York Giants, I'm sure, are hard at work at their Meadowlands complex looking at the Green Bay Packer tape, because they're going to Lambeau. And I looked at that long-range forecast for Lambeau next week. Let's put it this way, single digits.
Really?
That's the long term. I'm Dr. Doppler, I understand that, but I'm just telling you, might be somewhere around 6. And that streak lives on here. They won the Central Division, which of course no longer exists. NFC North started in 2002. Green Bay is going to win it again, so they're used to playing Week 17 for the division. Joe Carriage gets the give right here. It'll be 2nd down and 10, and you got Packers down, and that's not what they need. That's Jason Spriggs, the rookie tackle, who was in some distress.
Well, The other thing we've got to say about the Green Bay Packers now, for the 4th game in a row, no turnovers. That's how you win. Rodgers, the 7th game in a row without an interception.
Right. So Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl champion in 10, 8 straight years to the playoffs, 3-3 at home. He'll be there next week, 4-4 away. But I'll tell you what, this guy has had more gut-wrenching playoff defeats than anybody. He has lost 5 playoff games, 5, on the last play of the game, either in regulation or overtime. I mean, you go through that litany. The Giants beat him in overtime in 07. Cardinals beat him in 51-45 in OT. 49ers won the game on the final play, wild card 13. Hawks beat him overtime in the NFC Championship game. And last year we were there when Larry Fitzgerald caught that touchdown pass after a Hail Mary by Rodgers had sent the game into overtime in Arizona.
Yeah, and there were people coming after his job halfway through the season, and he probably had the best way of describing it. He said, you know, we keep stats on everything, including some of those articles that were written.
Oh, yeah.
We've got all those filed away too, so.
Always good to have a list.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, if McCarthy was ever out on the street, how long do you think it would be before he would get hired?
Not long.
About 4 minutes?
Maybe not that long, but I tell you do have to pay attention a bit here. Brian Bulaga has been shaken up a little bit. Now Jason Spriggs, and you know, these games don't stop. You've got to turn right around now and get ready for the playoffs.
Right, we're not sure exactly what day. They'll either have 6 or 7 days. The interesting thing about this game too tonight, Green Bay had 8 days rest because they played on Christmas Eve Saturday. And Detroit only had 6 days rest because they had the Monday nighter.
And on the road, so they had to fly back, didn't get back here till Tuesday about 6 a.m.
Right, so Rodgers with a kneel down here. Detroit, if they want to use their final timeout, and they do, would at least make Green Bay run another play to take close to 40 off the clock and then be forced to punt. But still, it's a 2-possession game. So,
you know, we talk about greatness all the time, but for Aaron Rodgers, how many times the whole relax thing, the whole I think we're going to be able to run the table in this one, a little boost of confidence, and for him to play absolutely perfect football since he made that statement. It's one thing to say it and have it happen. It's another thing to play as perfectly as he did once he said it. And that's the difference between the very good and the great.
Now I got a little pushy shovey here.
If they're anywhere close to Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be a riot down there.
He will be escorted out the back tunnel.
And you can just tell how frustrating it has to be for the Detroit Lions. This is a good football team. They made the playoffs. And yet here they are one more time in their own house. They can't handle the Packers.
Well, haven't had a home playoff game since '93. This team has, there have only been 2 playoff games in Detroit in the last 59 years. And there won't be one next weekend because the Lions will be flying to Seattle. So it's 4th down, and Green Bay can just let the clock run down as far as it will to 27 seconds. So Jim Caldwell gets his team to the playoffs, 2nd time in 3 years.
They'd have to do it all on the road, though.
They will. Well, like I said before, Green Bay was a 6th seed in 2010 and went all the way. They talk about running the table. That's running the table. And Green Bay
set the game clock to 37 and the game and the play clock to 10 and the game clock to 37 seconds and start on my wind.
All right, so that'll take us down eventually to 27. We're close to it.
10 on the play clock.
All right, so and we just discovered that Detroit will have a short week because Saturday night at 8:15, Freddie, Eastern time, it will be the Lions at the Seahawks, and that will be our cruise game next weekend on Wild Card Saturday. So we will follow the Lions out west as they get ready to match up with the Seahawks, who ended their season today with a victory tightly fought against the 49ers. And let's go to Michelle.
Well, Al, how about some Sunday Night Football New Year's resolutions? Number 4, join Travis Kelce and dance like no one is watching. Number 3, jump in the kettle with Zeke and give to charity. Number 2, find the perfect net and fall in love. And number 1, spend more time with family. Hey, congratulations on your retirement, Steve Smith Sr. What a career.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was some career, and should wind up in Canton. Speaking of Canton, of course, that's down the line, but there's no doubt that number 12 will be there.
Really is stunning. I mean, just time after time.
Yep. So, I mean, you think back to Thanksgiving. Where'd that kick go? Next to nowhere, but
went over the highway.
Barely matters.
Bel Air. He Eli'd that one.
That's right. You remember when Eli hit one onto Barnaby Road. Well, what do we got here? We got 31-17. Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up, but so be it. 7 games, the last 7, 18 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And that passer rating is spectacular as Stafford throws. A few hearts are beating around the country right now. And he caught it. Anquan Bolden. Well, that's overwhelming. Well, can you imagine a non-side kick, a recovery, and another Hail Mary?
We saw a couple of Hail Marys last year from Aaron Rodgers. Why not? We know Stafford can throw it that far.
And there is Bolden in his 14th season, still a lot of spring. And Prater now for the extra point.
Unbelievable. Golden Tate almost knocked it out of his hands.
Well, 31-20. You don't think?
You never know. You never know.
I mean, 8 fourth quarter comebacks. You got 13 seconds. Once again, let's go back to Bolden. Well, what a career this guy's had, huh?
One of the toughest guys ever. Took that shot in New York and got his jaw rewired and played, what, a couple of weeks after that?
Right.
And I think Tate got a finger on that ball and he still caught it.
Anquan started his career with Arizona, had 101 receptions as a rookie. Baltimore and San Francisco. And
you know what's interesting, Al, is you wonder, Matthew Stafford has an unbelievable arm. You wonder with that thing on his hand, would it make any difference at all trying to get a Hail Mary here from what would be 60, 65 yards away if they do recover this thing?
Well, maybe a little bit less because if they can, it has to go 10 yards. You got the whole hands team out there. You got Rodgers and everybody else. Allison, Rukowski. You got the guys Adams, guys who are used to handling the ball. You got Montgomery back at the 25-yard line.
Blockers in front, receivers in the back.
Clock doesn't start until it's touched by the receiving team, and that, with Richard Rodgers, will do it.
Wasn't quite as exciting as what Rodgers did last time in this building, but pretty good.
Full playoff schedule coming up. Mike will have it for you on our post-game show. Tell you who's got what game and when.
You know, one of the things I love about football is 12 teams make it to the playoffs. You know, every other sport, it's like you got to work to not make the playoffs. You're one of the 12, you had a great year. So I know there's some disappointment in Detroit, but you're one of the 12 and you have a chance.
Yeah, I like it the way it is. They've talked about expanding it, but you know, 12 in and 20 out, I think is a good combo platter. Every other sport is half and half, or at least basketball and hockey are. Baseball a little bit different. But the Green Bay Packers go to the playoffs for the 8th consecutive year. They're home. Giants go to Lambeau next weekend. And Detroit heads to Seattle. 31-24. Green Bay wins it. Coming up next, it's the Volkswagen post-game report right after these messages from your NBC station.